Welcome to Inside the Music with your host, Andy Schwartman.
Thank you, Senior Reed. Today we have a heavy metal fanatic, record collector, and all-around good guy, Todd Slagle. Todd, thank you and welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure to be here. I didn't know anything about all-around good guy, but sometimes you gotta inflate your
Yes.
truth.
Yes. For those of you that don't know, this is Andy Schwartman, and I'm your host for Inside the Music. This is my podcast, or blog or whatever.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
If you got that on audio, then sorry about that.
it's all right.
That table scooting.
Anyway,
We're not going to stop. Keep going.
gee,
That wasn't the table scooting. That was actually me. I'm sorry.
that's awesome. So I hear that you're a heavy metal fanatic.
Well, that's kind of okay. I'm a music fanatic.
Yes, so am I.
And metal was huge when I was a young, impressionable age. Starting with Kiss in about 1975. First record I bought was Dressed to Kill when it came out. And,
Nice.
It left an impressionable scar on my brain.
Nice.
And then I've always just loved music, been around it. And I collect. My thing is, I can't play worth a darn. People have given me guitars. They gave me drums for Father's Day once. I have no rhythm.
Okay.
It may be also the attention span to do it still.
Right.
I think I could be a poster child for ADD, but that wasn't the thing back when I was young. So,
No.
So I collect. I have a
Okay.
collection over 20,000 records, 10,000 CDs,
Dang.
thousands of posters, thousands of autographs, lots of memorabilia, gold records.
Okay.
Platinum records. I have Kiss Alive platinum record with all 4 original members signing the corner of it.
Wow,
really
that's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Maybe someday we'll do a show on record
Yeah.
collecting or
Yeah.
memorabilia or
Yes.
rare items, and I would be happy to. You can either come to my Fortress of Solitude, or we can take it on the road.
Okay.
So
That would be awesome.
I would love to.
That would be
Anytime.
awesome.
It's a pleasure to be here, man. This is exciting. Glad you're doing this.
Thank you. So what was the first band that you ever got into as a kid?
It was really Kiss.
Okay.
I mean, there was a couple little things before that your mom might have turned you on to, or I kind of remember. I guess it really got to be Kiss is the first band that just hook, line, and sinker took me.
Right.
I remember before Dressed to Kill came out, looking at the covers, and it's like, wow, there's just something really, and you didn't hear the music.
Right.
They didn't play Kiss on the radio. Of course, it wasn't on television, and I didn't, they were once on TV late at night on an in-concert special, but I never saw it. And so when I got that album and put it on, it was good. I'm not going to say it was great. I listened to it a lot. It was a little bit different than I thought it was going to be, and it was okay. And then, it was 6-7 months later that Alive came out, and that changed everything.
Yes. Multiply that.
Yeah, it was
Obviously.
The sound of it was incredible. The way they played, it was really a souvenir of what you thought their live show was going to be.
Yeah.
And it came with this awesome book. It was like an 8-page booklet with incredible photos on it, and it was that was the album that changed everything.
Nice.
And most of your Kiss fans from around that era are my age, and that was like Alive is what it's all about.
Very cool.
So
My very first, the way I got into rock and roll music was through a little band called the Beatles.
I think I've heard of them, maybe teasing.
The way I heard about them is I have an older sister whose name is Sarah, and she lives about 5 to 10 minutes away from me. so she's very close, and we've always been.
You guys are music buddies.
Yeah.
Music in common right off the bat. Yeah.
And so I remember at the tender age of 3 years old hearing the Beatles music, and that was just like, oh my god.
That's awesome. So that was your first rock music?
Yes, and then when I was 4 years old, she got me into Metallica.
You know, very same genre. You know, they sound okay. Never mind. I'm sorry. Other than both being a four-piece, that's about what it is.
Yeah, and then I got into like Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix, and you know,
The list goes on and on. And
yeah,
on.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you still have a ton to discover.
Oh yeah, and I'm 31 years old now, and I still listen to all those people, and it's like, oh my god. I mean, I'm looking on the back. I mean, I'm old school in the fact that I like to look on the back of records and just see, you know, what year a record was released in. And I remember looking on the back of, like, you know, Rubber Soul and seeing 1965 and going, oh god, you know, it blew me away.
It is pretty.
It was pretty cool.
It is cool. You know, the weird thing when I grew up, the Beatles, Stones, bands like I hated them. Could not stand it. It sounded so old and so, you know, just thin music. You know, because in 76, what 78, the production, you know, the music, the engineering, the stereo, all that stuff was just, you know, far superior to what that was. So I had a hard time with the sound.
Yeah.
And of course that look that was, you know, avant-garde in 1965 was pretty tame and lame in 1975 for the Beatles, you know.
Yeah.
Their long hair was acceptable back then.
Right.
But eventually it got to the point where I realized that the crap that I was listening to wouldn't have existed without the Beatles, you know, without Elvis. You know, Elvis influenced a lot of the Beatles.
Yes.
And then, of course, the old blues guitarist influenced a lot of Elvis. And it just kind of morphed from there. You would have no Kiss whatsoever without the Beatles.
Or Led Zeppelin, or Electric Light Orchestra, or Fleetwood Mac, or any of those things.
And maybe music would be 100% different than we know it without.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah.
it's just
Definitely.
Yeah. But it took me a long time to realize that.
Yeah.
It really did.
Or Aerosmith, or you know, whomever.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter.
history.
So
You start with the Beatles, you can't go wrong because that's really the start of what we know is rock and roll.
Right.
I mean, you can go back and talk about, you know, the blues. That's where, you know, it really started. The king of rock and roll was maybe Chuck Berry, but he doesn't get the accolades like Elvis.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Chuck Berry turned the world upside down.
Yeah.
Still one of my absolute favorite guitarists, favorite attitude he used to have, and you wouldn't be listening to a lot of rock, hard rock, if it wasn't for a guy like, you know, Little Richard, just the same.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And
he influenced a ton of Europeans because he did spend a lot of time over in Europe.
now, what are your feelings on or about Metallica?
I love Metallica. Early stuff.
So do I.
I was lucky doing, you know, in record collecting. We were in Chicago, and we were doing a record show in Chicago, which, you know, kind of like the record fair that they're having at Bogart's on August the 10th. Well, this one was not August, February the 10th at Bogart's.
Yeah.
And after the show and all that, you know, we're looking for something to do, and Raven and Metallica are playing. And it's like, you know, we kind of knew Raven, they were good. We'd heard of Metallica, but, you know, Kill 'Em All had just come out, and, you know, it's like, well, let's go down and check it out. And Raven, well, actually, Metallica opened, and it was pretty damn good. I mean, when I went with, Bob Tyson is the guy that I went with, and he's the guy that started all the record shows here and in the Midwest, and then he had Bob's Record Alley up in Swift and Collins back in the 80s. And, you know, we were blown away about what Metallica really was, because we honestly thought it was a bit more akin to, you know, just hardcore thrash metal, more like hardcore punk, with no melodies, no bridge in the song, things like that. And you
Right.
could see the structure in there, and they even played, I think, one or two songs from which would become Ride the Lightning. So we talked to the guys in the band afterwards. That's when I got Johnny Z's phone number, their manager, talked to him, and we started distributing the Kill 'Em All record, getting it out. If you got it in Northern Kentucky, a lot of times, or in Cincinnati, it came from us. Because, we would import this from important records. And then when Kill 'Em All came out, Johnny Z sent me a test pressing of Ride the Lightning. And to me, it's the ultimate best Metallica record there is.
Okay. All right.
I mean, there's not,
Cool.
again, a lot of people say Masters, a Puppet, which, God, that's a good one.
Yes, I would agree.
I mean, that's an awesome. But the thing with the difference between Masters and Ride is Ride was made when they were still an independent band. It was made on a shoestring budget. They had no idea what was going on.
Right.
It was rough. It was tough. And then they sold 100,000, 200,000, and then Elektra Records wanted to sign. They wanted to wait until they sell what they could do.
Right.
So Elektra Records signs them, and then when they go to do the Master of Puppets album, it's Elektra Records. It's a full budget for a record. It's great studio. It's it's all that.
Right.
Still an awesome album. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But just the surroundings and where it was and what it was, Ride's still my favorite.
Nice.
Let's wrap up part one with Todd
let's-
Slagle.
Wrap it up. Thanks a lot, Todd. Join us next time when we'll play Name That Tune.